Hi guys, my name is Lacey of Spooky Lips and Fat Hips, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is another installment of the palette series, and if you don't know what the palette series is, I've mentioned on my channel 8,000,001 times that I have a rather large eyeshadow collection. Eyeshadows are my favorite thing in the whole world. It's the makeup item that I get the most excited about. So I've accumulated quite a large eyeshadow collection in my years loving makeup. And the palette series is my solution to showing you guys my collection, because I don't want to just do a sit down like look at all my shit video. I instead want to do it in little segments and little themes. I've done my favorite eyeshadow palettes. I've done pops of blue. My washing machine just kicked on very loudly. Thank you for that. And now I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different palette series video. I'm going to be talking to you guys about eyeshadow palettes that I am decluttering. I think on the heels of my makeup journey videos, especially my makeup addiction video, it's important to show you guys that it's okay to give up makeup and that you can still collect makeup and love makeup while parting with things that you don't want anymore. And I got the inspiration to do a declutter in this style from Abby Williamson here on YouTube, who kind of did a video in the same way where she wasn't going through her collection with you guys. She instead was just like, she had pre-decided that she was getting rid of crap and just held it up and like explained why. So I definitely wanted to do it in the same style for that reason. I had two goals when I was decluttering my eyeshadows, one of which was to declutter 20 palettes. I will tell you I did not meet that goal. I did not think exactly hit 20, but I got very close. But my second goal and my more important goal when decluttering for my collection was to make it so there was nothing overlapping in my individual drawers. So what I mean by that is all of my palettes sit upright so I can see everything I have, but before I did my declutter there were palettes lying on top of other things, and it was making me not reach for a lot of my collection because I was just reaching for the easier palettes to grab over and over. Whereas now I can see everything, everything's laid out in a way that's like appealing and like interesting, and I already can feel the effects, like the positive effects of that. I'm already reaching for palettes that I wasn't giving a lot of attention for in the past or maybe had forgotten about. So I did meet that goal. So I'm very thankful that I hit that goal. It was also very important for me to be able to like break up collections and like break the cycles of collecting things in the future, all stuff like that. I do want to add, when it comes to makeup and decluttering, I put it all in a bag in my closet, and then my various friends who come over who love makeup, I let them see if they want anything, and then once all my friends have gotten a pick out of it, I do send it to the organization Product Beauty Share, which is an organization that collects gently used makeup, sanitizes it, and then distributes it to various women's shelters. I think they are a great organization. I will leave their information down below. They can't accept all makeup products because some things are harder to sanitize than others, but they can take eyeshadow palettes. So if my friends don't want any of these, I'll be sending them to Project Beauty Share. So please do not try to ask me for my used makeup. I will just ignore you. And yeah, without all of those disclaimers aside, I'm just going to tell you what I'm decluttering and why I'm choosing to let it go. I'm going to talk about these in one swoop. I taught myself basically how to do makeup with Makeup Revolution eyeshadows because they were so affordable and they're available at Ulta. And I have officially decided to give up the last of my Makeup Revolution eyeshadows because I've moved on to more expensive makeup, and not even price-wise, but just makeup that I like better. And I don't feel the need to hold on to these anymore. So the first one that I'm giving up, get rid of this brush, Ultimate Color Chaos palette. I just have, like, now that I own things like my Sugar Pill shadows, I know I'm never going to reach for this again. Also, like, I have the Urban Decay full electric palette, which is, I feel like, what this was trying to do. So I don't know, I'd rather use those, and I have a friend who I think will really love this, so I'm gonna put that to the side for her. I'm also going to be giving up my Give Them Darkness palette, which I think, again, my friend will really love because it's all like purple gothy tones, and there's nothing wrong with the Makeup Revolution formula. And I think if you are getting into makeup or you just like don't have a huge budget to spend on makeup, they do make really nice eyeshadows. They aren't like mind-blowingly amazing, but they're really good for the price. But I think it's time to let them go. I think I've outgrown them. It's time. I'm also letting go of a lot of BH Cosmetics palettes. And I love BH Cosmetics a lot, but I just feel like a lot of their newer palettes I love so much, and it's really kind of made me seeing how I'm not, like, it's really shown me that I'm not ever going to be reaching for their older palettes anytime in the future. They're basically all baked eyeshadow palettes. So this is the Wild and Alluring eyeshadow palette. It has a blush and a bronzer in it, but like these are not blushes and bronzers, they're fully metallic, and it has these beautiful metallic eyeshadow formulas in it. This is like their older metallic formula, so it's not as pretty. Some of them aren't anyway. I mean, some of them are. Crap, now I'm getting confused. It's not as, to me, as impactful as their newer baked formula. These are more glittery, and I have like everything in the Wild line. I have Wild Child, which can go Wild and Free, and then Wild at Heart. And it's not that these palettes are inherently bad, it's just that these color stories I have in different palettes that maybe I reach for more, and I just like, I've almost never reached for these, so they can go. Also, a little controversial possibly, but I'm getting rid of the original Take Me to Brazil palette, pretty much for the same reason I talked about for the Makeup Revolution palette. I just feel like I have colorful rainbow eyeshadows that I'm reaching for and elsewhere. The incredibly tiny size of these pans kind of infuriates me, and I just feel like I've moved on from these. They were good when I bought them for what I used them for, but I just don't need them anymore, and it's no shade to people who still use these and enjoy these. I've replaced them in my own collection. Please don't think that I'm just shitting on drugstore makeup, because I've also decided to get rid of all of my Smashbox Cover Shot palettes. That was a redundant statement. I used to have more Cover Shots, and I got rid of like 2 or 3 more than what I'm holding up now. I have 4 left. I'm getting rid of all of these. I fucking hate these palettes. I've never met anyone who likes the Cover Shot palettes. They look beautiful and amazing, but the pigmentation absolutely sucks with these palettes. I had a rainbow one, I had a smoky one, I have a more warm tone one, and I just feel like if I wanted these color stories, I have them elsewhere. I have them in better formulas, and I just like, LS did a video about like a cured cost. What is the word? This phrase right here. And it's kind of, she basically in her video brought up about how like, don't feel bad about giving up makeup. You've spent the money. You'll never get it back. If you want to let it go, like the money has been spent. Like you can't hold on to crap just because like you feel guilty that you spent the money. It's over, it happened. I think holding on to the Cover Shot palettes, even though I hate them so much, is exactly that. I didn't want to give them up because I had spent the money on them. And I don't know, I just like, it's time to let them go because I don't like them. I'm not gonna reach for them. I can't even justify having them anymore. It's time to go. This was a palette that was kind of, again, I kind of hated when I bought it, and now like it's too late. I'm never gonna get the money back. This is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Glimmer palette. I am gonna hold on to the original Shade and Light palette, the all matte one. This palette makes no fucking sense to me. It's a all metallic version of the original Shade and Light formula, of the original Shade and Light color story. I'm getting all flustered because I'm talking about makeup. This palette makes no sense to me, and I'm never gonna reach for it. If I'm reaching for the Shade and Light palette to use those mattes, I'm not thinking, boy do I wish I had all of these in a metallic finish. Like, I don't get it. I just feel like they were trying too hard to capitalize off of the success of the Shade and Light palette, and now given all of the Kat Von D drama, it's really easier for me to let this go. I'm holding on to the majority of my Kat Von D products, but because I didn't like this already to begin with, but was holding on to it because it was Kat Von D, it makes it all the much more easier to let it go right now. Similarly, I used to really love Tarte a lot when I first got into high-end makeup, and now I've just realized that there are other companies that do these colors better. This is the original Tartelette palette. I am keeping Tartelette in Bloom and Tartelette Toasted. I think those palettes are very nice, though now no longer very unique. But I'm forcing myself to get rid of the original Tartelette palette. One, to prove to myself that I don't have to have the whole collection of something. So by breaking the collection up, it like forces me to not want to complete my collection of various different eyeshadow lines in the future. Also, I never reach for this because it's not that great. I feel like the colors tend to muddy together a little bit. I will reach for matte shadows elsewhere if I'm in the market for an all matte palette. Something else in my collection that I've known for a while could go, and I really am finally just taking the plunge to get rid of it now. The Lorac Beauty's Who Brunch Pro Eyeshadow Palette. It's a palette of pastels, but it's really disappointing pastels because I think now with like Strobe Cosmetics and even the Pastel Goth palette for how good that was. There are better pastels in my collection that I'm hands down going to reach for before this if I'm in the mood for a pastel, and I'm rarely in the mood for a pastel. So I feel like for the longest time I was just justifying having this because I was like, oh, but what if I want this pastel red? What if I want this this avocado shade? I used this palette maybe like twice. It needs to go. I am keeping the cheek products that came with this, but I've justified having this for too long. It needs to go. Equally, same story. The Disney Beauty and the Beast Lorac collab eyeshadow palette. This is bulky as all fuck, so I don't like storing it. And I think I just was high off of the hype of the new Beauty and the Beast movie when I bought this, because this is not an overly exciting or fun palette. I'm going to stop holding it up because it's blinding. And I feel like I justified keeping it in my collection for a long time, again, because I have the cheek palette that goes with this, and I like that so much. It's so nice. And I was like, well, I have to keep them together because they're a set. I don't have to keep them together. Please remind yourself that you don't have to keep collections together for the sake of keeping collections together. This isn't that great. I love the Lorac Pro formula. I think it's very nice and easy to use and blendable. But it just, like, I never reach for this, and it just annoys me that I've kept it this long. I don't need it. And I really feel like personally I'm getting over the whole bigger artistic presence collab with a makeup thing to sell it to, but you know what I mean? Like when a bigger entity like Disney collabs with a makeup brand for the nostalgia and you get sucked into it, I really feel like I'm getting over that a lot. So things like this I think in the future will tempt me less. My battery's dying. I need to hurry this up, but it's just it can go. Speaking of palettes that piss me the fuck off, and I don't know why I've kept this so long, the Take Me On Vacation Kylie Cosmetics palette. First of all, you might be saying, but Lacey, you love this palette. Look, you pan the shadow. I didn't fucking pan shit. This blue, the one interesting shade in the palette, you couldn't pick up the blue with your brush because it was packed so fucking tightly in the pan. So I thought I would repress it and that would help, but it didn't, and it just crumbled out of the pan. As a disaster. All of these shades are so light. They're just sheer washes of color on the eye. It's so pointless to me, this palette. And when I was trying to repress the shadow, I got blue eyeshadow caked onto my great-grandmother's 150-year-old dresser that I love so much and is so dear to me. So now I have to look at those blue stains every time I use the dresser, and it fucking infuriates me. It fucking infuriates me that a Kylie Cosmetic palette ruined the finish of my beautiful antique dresser. So now when I move, I'm going to have to sand it and refinish it. So it's not the end of the world. I know it's fixable, but it's just a testament to how annoying this palette was and how annoying, like, oh, I'm getting like worked up in this declutter because so many of these items I've justified keeping in my collection for so long, mainly because I was like, well, I already spent the money, I need to get my money's worth, and it doesn't matter. Yeah, I spent the money and that sucks, but all I can do is learn from these purchases in the future and not buy shit that makes me miserable in the future, and maybe, if I can, give these to people who will appreciate them now, because I certainly am not appreciating them or using them. They're just causing me emotional fucking stress. Finally though, and this is like the least upsetting palette that I'm getting rid of, because I'm really not getting rid of this because it annoys me. I just never reach for it. This is the Japonesque Pixelated Color eyeshadow palette, which is something that I got from like on a whim from Ulta, and it's really like a nice palette. I do think this packaging is really bulky. You get these like blah kind of neutral satiny shades, and you get all these like beautiful glittery shades, which you do very much so need a glitter glue to make work, and it's really nice and it's really pretty, but I just feel like I don't reach for this for as beautiful as it is. And if I want shades like this, these like darker glittery shades, I'm gonna reach for my Urban Decay Moon Dust palette first. Like I'm rarely ever like, let me put some purple glitter on my, like, I don't know, I just reach for this very little. It's very nice though, and I do think there are people in my life who like this a lot more than me and who will reach for it more than me, who maybe don't have anything like this yet, but it's been in my drawers for a while and I'm not getting the use out of it. I'm covered in makeup. What else is new? But yeah, that's about it. I know I kind of made me seem a little negative in this video, and that's mainly because I'm just frustrated with myself sometimes. I'm frustrated that I've bought so much makeup that I'm not getting my money's worth out of. And I kind of promised myself that if I ever started earning money from YouTube, that I would take the steps to declutter some of my collection. So could I have decluttered more? Yes, but do I feel like I did a good thing and decluttered a lot? Definitely. And I definitely think this was just step one, because these are things that I pulled all my makeup out of my drawers and I separated everything, like the things that I knew without a shadow of a doubt I was keeping that you could not take away from me. I kept in the drawers, and I put all the maybes aside, and then all the absolutely nots, I don't need this, went to a pile. And I went through all the maybes. I ended up keeping most of the maybes. So I know that this was just a step one, and in the future I'm sure a lot of those maybes I can part with a lot easier in the future, because a lot of the things that I have chosen to declutter now were maybes in the past that I had justified keeping for a very long time. And I think that's where a lot of the anger is, because I just so often find myself justifying why I'm keeping certain things. And I don't think, if you're someone like me who's trying to get over a makeup addiction, that you need to justify things. And I think I'm going to put these away for a while, see if I miss any of them. I can guarantee you I probably won't, and it'll make me much happier to see somebody else in my life take these and use this, or to pass it along to a charity where it's going to people who will appreciate it a lot more than me. So if I'm seeming grumpy in this video, it's not so much at the products as it is just at myself, so please understand that. But yeah, overall, it feels good to get the stuff out of my collection. It feels good to look at my drawers and feel inspired by my collection and feel happy with the size of my collection and how I'm able to display it now. Just I feel much more motivated to use the makeup I have now, because I can see everything like I mentioned earlier, and I just feel like decluttering definitely helps me appreciate the stuff that I do really love. So that part is whew, it's so freeing to do a declutter like this for that reason. Maybe this video will inspire you to look at your collection and maybe give it a go. I know every time I watch a declutter video, I'm always immediately inspired to do a declutter. Definitely don't feel pressured to declutter though if you don't want to. This is just what I needed to do for my own happiness, and I'm glad that these palettes are going. Talk to me down below. I normally have talking points, but I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on any of these palettes? I don't know. Talk to me about how you feel about declutters down below. I know people feel ways about declutters. I know I didn't want to do a sift through my collection with me, because people always get pissed in those videos because you're either not giving away enough or giving away stuff that they love. And it's just declutters can be really frustrating, but I think they can also be very helpful and freeing in the same breath. So just talk to me down below. If you like me, if you like declutters, if you like eyeshadows, hit like and subscribe. I'm trying my best to upload videos every single weekend. If you haven't already, also follow me on Instagram, which is also Speakless and Fat Hips, so you can see what I'm up to when I'm not on YouTube. And that's all I got for today. Whew. Talk to me down below. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Ooh, side note, I should also say, I just kicked my camera. Because this is kind of tied together with my makeup addiction video, thank you guys so much for the feedback that I got on that video. And for everyone who shared their stories and commented. I was really blown away by the attention that video got. So yeah, just thank you guys for sticking with me and for supporting me so much. I love you guys. I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.